Let's talk about the types of quiz that works best in 2025. I'm going to tell you right now that it's not what used to work. My name's Josh. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Interact. We were the original lead generation quiz software all the way back in 2013. Back in then, it was like really hard to actually make a quiz on the internet. This was when like website builders were still new. So we were way ahead of the game. Pros and cons to that. Talk about that later. But what we have seen is how quizzes have changed over the years, and particularly somewhere between 2021 and 2025, which is this year, things changed 100%. I'm not even exaggerating there. The quizzes that were generating thousands of leads, sometimes on a daily basis, went to zero, and then they were replaced by a new type of quiz. The new type of quiz has multiple kind of iterations, which is why I'm going to show you a few of these today. And basically, the gist of what happened was in the past, quizzes were very ethereal, very just for fun, is like the simple way to say it. You would do something like, what's your blank personality? It would get a ton of engagement, and engagement equals leads. That's kind of just how it goes. If your quiz gets a lot of engagement, it's going to get a lot of leads. Now, whether or not those leads are relevant to your business depends on whether or not the topic is relevant to your business. That's a different discussion. But in terms of the type of quiz that's getting a lot of engagement, it used to just be those personality quizzes. If you remember these, they were like really popular on BuzzFeed. The top publishers on Facebook for years were just quiz platforms. And they would just be more and more absurdist kind of quizzes, like tell me about your lunch and I'll tell you which celebrity you should marry. Right? That stuff was getting crazy engagement. All of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but over a couple of years, that stopped working entirely. And I cannot stress that enough. Like, it just doesn't work anymore. But what does work now is quizzes that are highly practical, that help you find personal answers to questions or problems or things that you want as the quiz taker. And they use proprietary, unique information that the quiz maker, so that's you, the business owner, information that you have that's unique, that you've developed, that you've learned in order to help that quiz taker solve a problem, get what they want, find a path forward, find fulfillment, or find their purpose. Those are the things that people want. If you can help them get that in a way that's personalized, that also uses unique information that you have, you've built a hedge against AI, against everything, honestly, on the internet, because not only are you helping them in a personalized way, which is what people want, but you're doing it in a way that only you can do. So they can't just go on ChatGPT, find the same answer. They're not going to find it. It will give them a generic answer that's not going to be helpful. So let me talk you through these quiz types. First one here is a personal solution. This example on the screen, the screenshot's from Jenna Kutcher. Jenna Kutcher has been using quizzes on the Interact platform since 2016. Jenna Kutcher is somebody that knows how to iterate with how the market shifts. Her original quiz was called, What's Your Secret Sauce? Very ethereal, very fun. Just for fun, you could almost say, but it worked extremely well. Not so much anymore. Nobody's interested in taking a quiz to find their secret sauce. People want to get answers. So she changed her strategy. This quiz, called the Level Up Quiz, says, let's get laser focused on what your goals are for this month, year, and beyond. I can hand over the specific resources to you so that you can grow. That's what people want in 2025. They want to be like, hey, if I'm going to take this quiz and it tells me it's just 90 seconds, I want something out of it. I want to know that it's going to help me move forward with my life, help me get what I want, help me reach my goals. Literally, the subtitle of this is Let's Level Up Your Plan. Find a plan to get what you want. That is what works in 2025, not the What's Your Secret Sauce. Although that was a beautiful quiz. I still think it's one of the best quizzes ever made. But that's not what people want in 2025. They want this. They want a personal solution that helps them get where they want to go. Let's talk about the next type of quiz. Personal guidance. Similarly, this is from Gretchen Rubin. Gretchen Rubin is one of the best quiz writers I've ever seen. The ability that she has to write quizzes that speak to people in a highly personal way is incredible. Now, obviously, Gretchen can't talk to everybody. She is a 7-time New York Times best-selling author. 7 times. That's crazy. 7 times she's written a book that's been a New York Times bestselling author. That's really nuts. Obviously, she can't talk to every single person that wants to hear from her. But what she does is takes the knowledge that she has, and usually it's accompanied with a book. So the knowledge is similar to what's in the book, and she infuses that into a personalized guiding experience that she puts into the quiz format. This one here launched last January, and it kind of revives every January because obviously that's when people are thinking about habits. It's called Habits for Happiness. Take the quiz to discover what habit you should work on next. Now, I want to just stop right here because there used to be quizzes like this on Facebook, on BuzzFeed, all over the internet that would tell you like, hey, you should go outside more, you should exercise more. Super generic. Not anymore. This quiz uses branching logic within the Interact system. So every question leads to a different follow-up question. It's all tracked on the back end. And there are something like 50 unique results that you can get. And those results are granular. It's something like spend more time with your friends, or spend more time with your family, or spend more time with your work colleagues. Like, it's that granular where it's giving that type of advice, and you only have to answer 8 questions in order to get there because it's using that branching. So again, high utility, high practicality. You are getting what you want, and there's very little effort that you have to put in order to get what you want if you are taking this quiz, which is why it's done really well. It was featured in a few different news publications. It's a highly successful quiz because it's literally just being used to help guide people towards what they want. So I think you can kind of start to see the picture here. Like, the old version of these quizzes was like, hey, what's your personality, or what's your blah, blah, blah. And people were fine with that back in 2018, 2019. They're not anymore. They're not even interested in that anymore. They want to know, hey, what's the answer to my thing? How do I get what I want? How do I get where I want to go? How do I reach my goals? That's what they want to know with quizzes. Next one, personal purpose. This quiz here from NASA. I interviewed Naomi Krellin, who was the person at Storycraft Lab who created this quiz with NASA. The way they did this was they interviewed people who work at NASA to figure out how the people who work at NASA talk about working at NASA on different missions. The Artemis mission in particular, which is a variety of missions, I believe, going to different places. And what they did was they turned this quiz into a thing that helps you find your purpose, where it's like, what role would I play in a moon mission, in an Artemis mission, which helps you connect to it and obviously helps you get excited about it. You want to learn more about the missions once you're like, oh, I would play this role. What does that mean? People want to find their purpose with this type of quiz. And the difference between this and like a space quiz in general, that's like a general personality quiz, night and day. Because every question in this quiz comes from actual experiences that people who work at NASA on the ground or in the spacecrafts, experiences that they have, the way that they talk about things. So you're connecting with that when you're taking the quiz. It's not just some wishy-washy, oh, what do you like doing with your day? That doesn't work anymore. It has to be rooted in, again, proprietary information, unique information. You're not going to have that information unless you had access to interview a bunch of people from NASA and you had permission to use that information to create the quiz. They ran this quiz at Comic-Con and it got really high engagement. Like, people stopped, took the quiz, figured out their moon boots, which is the way that you find your role in the mission. And then they actually had physical boots you could step into and take a photo and then learn about that role. Now it's being adopted at different air and space museums that are run by NASA throughout the country, where you can stop, you can take the quiz, figure out what role you'd play so that you can learn more. It's a way to engage people. And whether you're using a quiz for lead generation or not, this one's not. But it does engage people, get them excited, get them learning, get them personally connected with it, a personal purpose that ties to it, that's real. It's not just what ChatGPT is going to spit out. It's not just some blah, 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 like random stuff like it used to be. Now it's rooted in real stuff, and you have to do that. Otherwise, 0 people will take your quiz. I guarantee it. Last one here is personal answers. This is from Salary Transparent Street. They have an excellent series on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. They have a podcast where they do on the street interviews, asking people how much money they make, whether they're happy with their salaries, how their career progression has gone. They are gathering proprietary data about career progression, about what you make in different roles. Hannah, who's the founder over there, said that she started the company because she realized she was being underpaid in her job. She could have been making more. People around her were making more. And the unfairness, the inequity of that led her to start this company. Now she's taking some of that information that they've collected, obviously bundling it up so it stays proprietary, but then created this quiz. Are you underpaid? And the way that they ask questions in this quiz, you would only know if you had that data, if you had that experience, if you actually talked to, in her case, thousands of people about their salaries and whether or not they feel like they are underpaid, overpaid, right in the middle, perfect, whatever it may be. Personal answers to questions that people have. It has to be based on unique information that you have. Otherwise, again, go on Google, go on ChatGPT, go on Reddit. You can find answers from other people. You can find generic answers, but personal, that comes from information that you have that nobody else has, that's what makes a quiz unique. Now, one last point before we wrap up here. People like quizzes, and we've gotten a lot of feedback on this, especially in 2025. People like quizzes because they know it's not an AI. They know that it's a preset series of answers. Yes, it's not like infinitely scalable where you could have any answer under the sun. It is limited in that way, where it's limited to the amount of results that are in your quiz. But people like that because they know, hey, whatever I'm learning from this quiz, I'm learning directly from the creator of the quiz. And I know there's no AI in there infusing stuff that's not real or that's made up or whatever. They know that they're actually having a brief conversation with the creator of the quiz, which that's you if you're watching this video. You're the one creating the quiz. So in a final recap here, quizzes in 2025 that are getting high engagement, which means that they will get leads if you are using it for that, or they'll just get high engagement if you're trying to engage your ideal customers and get them to remember you and to stand out online. The ones that are really working are doing so in a way that's personal, practical, straightforward, simple, to the point, and delivers value in a way that only you can with the information that you have as a business that's proprietary. That's what's working. And you'll notice all of these titles that I showed you are so simple. They're so straightforward. There's no bells and whistles. There's no fancy stuff. There's no etherealness. There's no, what is your personality of whatever. It is very straightforward. And that's working because people want answers. They want solutions. They want to find ways to get what they want. And if you can help them with that, with a quiz, by using the logic and the personal nature of it, then they're going to be happy to trade you their email at the end. They're going to be happy to invest in whatever products you're selling afterwards. They're going to be happy to be on your email list and hearing from you because you are helping them get what they want in a personalized way. And that is the trick to the types of quizzes that are working in 2025.